going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
Nickel 613, apologize. Oh, got it!
With all due respect to the Air Force, I believe that some of them will prove to be of interplanetary origin.
Dude, this is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing! It's rotating.
We have received and analyzed between 1 and 2,000 reports.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the SwampGasPod. My name is Don. This is...
What's going on, guys? This is Bruce. We are back. Thank you for everyone that's been listening to us. I can't believe that we've been getting anyone listening to us, let alone as many. So thank you. You guys are clearly telling your friends, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, we're flying up the charts with like 12 people, and it kicks ass.
It's crazy. I mean, I can't believe we've got so many.
Yeah, we're killing it over here. So, what are we doing? We're looking at everything that doesn't pass the sniff test, right, buddy?
That's right. That's right.
We got ourselves a special guest tonight.
Oh, yeah. Introduce her.
What's up, Katie? Everybody say hello to Katie.
Hi, how's it going, you guys? Thanks for having me on tonight.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to be here and ready to dive in.
Right on.
So tell me a little about yourself. What's your story?
Well, I've been in the cannabis industry for about 5 years. So love that. See myself really only in that industry. So loving that. And I just have always been into paranormal stuff, aliens, especially Bigfoot. I used to help Don trim some of his we'd always put on some ancient aliens and just trim away. It's always
literally
fun.
Sit in my basement for 12 hours at a time trimming weed, watching ancient aliens or conspiracy theory this or that or whatever TV show we could find to make our minds explode while we were trimming away.
Hell yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
So would you say that you said Bigfoot? Is Bigfoot like your favorite of all like the cryptids?
Oof. I don't think it's my favorite, but
Okay.
I'm super into it though. I would say I think aliens might have to take the cake.
Yeah.
The ETs definitely take the cake. Me personally on that one, but I do like to learn everything that I can and soak up everything I can about Bigfoot because I definitely want to learn more. So
sure.
So here's a question. Here's a question right off the top. Then, is Bigfoot an alien?
See, I like this. I like this theory a lot. And personally, I really don't know, but the thing is that it's weird. It might be a coincidence or not, but it's weird because every time there's supposedly like a sighting or there's, something going on with Bigfoot specifically, there has been like UFO sightings right around the same area within the same time frame sometimes. So it's just weird if it is some extraterrestrial or maybe like ultra terrestrial, so something like within the dimensions and within planes, like something like that. It definitely could be a possibility. I don't like to shoot any theory down, but I definitely am not too sure on where I stand with it. I think it would be cool. I think it would be something different, but in my heart of hearts, I'm not too sure, honestly. I think maybe interdimensional rather than extraterrestrial, so to say. I think it's more of a dimensional, planial thing, honestly.
Ooh, That's a really interesting theory. So almost like he's jumping like through realities to get here.
Yeah, or like so to say,
Okay.
not so much like traveling distance wise. It's almost like already here, like other dimensions, so to say. But something,
That's an interesting theory.
yeah,
Yeah, and you're
I
not
didn't
wrong.
know that
There's
that was
definitely
a.
a correlation. A lot of Bigfoot sightings do coincide with strange lights in the sky and whatnot.
Now, is that a fact? I didn't know that there was a lot of UFO sightings around where there was Bigfoot sightings. That's a really interesting point to make. I didn't know that was the. I didn't know that was true.
Yeah, certainly not all of them, but yeah, there's a large correlation.
Hmm.
I don't even know that I would say the majority. I'm pulling a number out of my ass, but let's say 30-40%
yeah.
Wow,
of
I would,
that's
Bigfoot
not
stories
nothing.
yeah, I would say that's fair. I wouldn't say it's more than 50.
coincide with
Yeah,
Dude, that's
yeah,
not
I would say
nothing.
less
That's
than
interesting.
50,
That's
but
not nothing.
yeah.
probably more than 25%. I would say at
Mm-hmm.
least
Hmm.
coincide with maybe the person who saw the Bigfoot didn't also see the lights, but the guy 3 miles down the road saw lights in the sky in that direction,
Right, and
type of
call it a
thing.
day. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. That actually happens fairly commonly. And
No
then you got
kidding.
to
All right.
consider a guy who saw a Bigfoot, and then maybe there were lights in the sky that nobody did see, or that somebody did see and never reported, or vice versa.
Hmm.
It's all possibilities.
Well, dude, that's really interesting. What a way to start us off. That's super interesting.
It's actually going to come into a little bit of play for our story tonight. In fact,
Yeah, I was about to ask
Oh,
what's the story for today? What are we telling the kiddies today?
so today we're going to talk about the Sierra Sounds. What do you guys know about the Sierra Sounds?
ooh, supposedly, some caught chit chat between two Bigfoots. So that's pretty
She says
interesting.
Bigfoots too. Dang.
Yeah,
I
Bigfoot. It's
is that the
all right.
plural?
Yeah,
I thought it would be big
we got
feet.
into this last week, Katie. We got into
I
this
thought it would
last
be
week.
big
What is
feet,
the
not
plural?
Bigfoots. But I
Is it
guess it could go either way.
Bigfoots or is it big feet?
See, like according to like English, I feel like it would be the feet one, but it just doesn't sound as good to me personally. So I would say foots.
I'm with you. I'm with you
Like,
100%. It's
can I?
Bigfoots.
Yeah, can I use it in a sentence? Let's see. Let's see what. Do the sound test. What sounds better? Let's see. I heard two big feet talking, or I heard two Bigfoots talking. So yeah, see the second one just sounds
Yeah,
way
no,
better. So
I'm
yeah,
with
we
you.
go second.
in that context, I'll give it to you. But I
Yep.
like I always say, in the context of him, like the family of Big Feet, the Big Feet family. I feel like a black and white '50s not cartoon, a black and white '50s housewife. I mean, two kids, the angry ape coming down. I see them as the Big Feet family, or just like the Sasquatches.
I like that. I love the word. Love the word Sasquatch. That's like
I prefer Sasquatch over Bigfoot anyway. So
yeah,
yeah.
Sasquatch. Yeah.
But if we're going with Bigfoot, it's definitely Bigfoots.
There we go.
Yes.
We got it. We got it down now. We know.
Yeah. I feel like this is something that people will take a firm stance on as well. Like if
Oh,
you
oh
if
yeah.
you dive deep into the diehard Bigfoot people, they're gonna take a hard stance on this.
Mm-hmm.
If you call
Well,
them
you're
big
probably
feet, you
right.
might just get slapped in the face if you're walking around in Washington or
Yeah.
Oregon. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So why
Anyway,
don't you
though,
tell us more about the Sierra Sounds, Don? Tell us more about it.
right. All right.
Start the story off right.
So this story comes from the early 1970s, right? Um, you know what? We're even gonna start off just by playing some of these sounds so that we can know exactly what we're talking about here.
You're trying to talk to this. That's our job. We know where we're going for traction only for sure. There's two of them across the creek at the big rocks. It's a hard act to follow. It sounds like he talks to us and they talk to each other. Yeah. We know where we're going for traction only for sure.
There's two of them across the creek at the big rocks. It's a hard act to follow.
It sounds like he talks to others and they talk to each other.
Yeah. Right there, I just seen moving right through there.
I don't know. You know, after hearing that a little bit more like deeply, I'm a little bit more skeptical than I think I was before.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a little skeptical.
Tell me why.
I mean, towards the end, it just kind of got a little comical where it felt like he was just doing like, you know, just like trying to throw his voice, just trying to, you know, be a little, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's true. Maybe he was, you know, calling back a Sasquatch, but I don't know. I would like to think that Sasquatches sound a lot more horrifying than that. Like in my mind, they don't sound that silly. And that was a little silly.
Well, I would imagine if Sasquatch wants to sound horrifying, he absolutely can.
So he just
doesn't
wants to
sound like a
flick,
Sasquatch.
I don't know. I feel like we're giving this
Trying
thing
to
way
sound
too much
horrifying
credit.
to me. That's all right. Well, Katie, what do you think?
I think towards the beginning, it was definitely like in the distance. If I could pick up anything, it was definitely like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like that's kind of like a higher pitch tone than like the closer that you could hear like people recording. Like you could definitely tell the difference of them because it was really close. But it was kind of hard to really pick up anything too because it was kind of like fuzzy and it almost had kind of an echo kind of to it a little bit, like a fuzzy. So it's kind of hard to really pick up anything outside of that. But I definitely agree with Bruce. Like towards the end, I was like, okay, is he just trying to just really try to go full force with trying to sound like one or like what he think one would sound like? But yeah, it's just I wish that the video quality wasn't so like grainy because I was trying to really listen and it's like it's hard, and I know that's not on you, that's just on how it was recorded. Right. So it's just like it's hard to kind of pick up past that, but it is definitely still interesting. It's definitely like something is they're it seems like something is further in the distance at some points, and that they're literally making a contact of like some sort of like they're trying to speak with it, like. But it was really hard to kind of pick up anything like that I would be like, yes, that sounded like, whoa, something crazy. Like it was kind of hard to pinpoint anything like that personally.
I agree.
Okay.
No, I totally agree. I just felt like towards the end, it just started sounding silly. Like in the beginning, I'm gonna be honest. Like in the beginning, it almost felt like it could be anything. You know what I mean? Like it almost could have been. I mean, I'm not gonna. Could have been a this or a that animal, but like there was really nothing too like blatantly, obviously Bigfoot. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, all right. This isn't all one recording. This is an amalgamation of several recordings over the course of about 4 years, I believe.
Okay.
Like that didn't
Okay.
all just happen at once. That's a mishmash of a bunch of them. And there's
Okay.
actually something like an hour and a half worth of these recordings out there available.
Okay.
Okay.
And this is where the term samurai chatter actually comes from, because it almost sounds like an old Japanese movie in some cases, right? Like a bunch of samurai chatting at each other.
I've never heard that expression before.
Yeah.
I
Yep,
gotta be
that's
honest, I've
absolutely a
never heard
thing.
that expression before.
That is absolutely 100% a thing in the Bigfoot world, man.
Man, maybe.
100%.
Really? Oh.
Well, let's dive into a little bit.
Sure.
So after these initial recordings were some of the first ones, not all of them that we just heard, but after these initial recordings were first picked up by Ron Morehead and his group of hunters, they contacted a guy by the name of Ivan Sanderson, who's an old school cryptozoologist from. Yeah, he actually he died a couple years after these recordings first took place. He was an old school old timer.
An old school
but
old
you know,
timer.
through the cryptid, yeah, I want to say he was around. He was around for like Albert Ostman's story, right, in the 20s.
Oh wow, really?
This is in the 70s. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. So he was an old school cryptozoologist when these first came about. He died, at 80 years old a couple years later.
Absolutely.
So they reached out to him, and through the the cryptic grapevine, as it goes, the story got to a guy named Al Berry. Now, Al Berry was a military officer in Vietnam. He had a master's degree in science. At the time all this went down, he was an investigative journalist for a newspaper in Northern California. Story got kicked to him, and in 1972, he went up to this camp with this group of hunters to see what it was all about. Turns out they didn't. Everybody else at the camp didn't find out until years later that Al Berry, the whole time, also thought it was a hoax. So he goes up there. This is 1972, right? So we're talking about cassette players with, micro. Like we're not talking about high end audio equipment, right? But Al Berry gets up there with better equipment than what they had for the first ones, and said the whole time he was thinking it was a hoax. He was doing everything he could to look for speakers in the trees, wires, he literally searched everybody's bags while they were out hunting, looking for any signs of a hoax. And he never could come up with anything.
I mean, that's interesting. Here's my question. Yeah. Why didn't they go after it?
Hold on.
You were talking to it for that long. Go after it.
Let me get through the story. Let me get through the story.
Go for it.
He was up there for several days during this one particular trip, and he was there to hear the sounds return. So Al Berry himself got to hear everything that was going on. Most of these recordings actually came from Al Berry, not from Ron Morehead himself. Has been up there several years since. In fact, I think he's gone up there every year since 1970, just to be up there. But the bulk of this stuff happened between 1971 and 1974. But Al Berry was up there, and he got to hear all of this stuff happening real time himself.
Wow.
The next morning, after his first night up there hearing all this, they found footprints outside the camp. They found 13-inch footprints, and they found 18-inch footprints, and they made casts of them. You can find these casts today.
Damn.
Now, you could say that maybe there's a group of people that weren't there at the hunting camp that were hoaxing them, right? Maybe there's another group of people out there that were pulling a prank on them. Here's the problem with that. This camp is in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. This camp is at 8,400 feet of elevation. It's 8 miles from any other road or trail or anything. It is out there. It is in the middle of fucking nowhere. So one, whoever's hoaxing these guys needs to know where this camp is, needs to know when these hunters are going to be there. And you're going through all of this effort to pull a hoax on 4 hunters? Why? You know?
Why? Right. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Did you happen to have of like the cast, like the foot?
I don't have any pictures of them here now, but you can find them. They are out there.
Very cool.
So the recordings themselves, maybe they were hoaxed. Maybe they were just fake. Maybe Al Berry was in on it, right? Maybe he faked it. Maybe he was in on it. So these recordings were sent to the University of Wyoming. I don't know why I almost said it, Arizona. Well, University of Wyoming sent to Dr. Arlen Curlin, professor of electronic engineering. They spent a year analyzing these tapes.
A year?
They spent a year on this, looking into these. What they figured out is, judging based on the pitches of the sounds, the sounds recorded in these tapes went above, within, and below the range of normal human vocalizations. So we're talking about ultrasound and infrasound. Sounds that people can't make. Based on the pitches, based on their scientific analysis, they concluded that these things, assuming that the average height of a man is 5'11", the height of these, whatever made these sounds, is anywhere between 7 foot 3 inches and 8 foot 2 inches.
And they can tell that by the sound?
Yep.
I don't know, man. Question mark, puzzled face.
That was their analysis. Well,
how are they?
Go get yourself a science degree and tell me otherwise.
Yeah, that's like, so they're just able to solely base that information on the sounds of the tape.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, and who is to say that like humans
I mean, I could read the whole thing. I could read the entire scientific analysis for you
I'm not
if you'd
saying
like
you're
me
making
to.
it up. I'm just saying it doesn't sound like. I don't know. I'm skeptical of that because, like, I don't know. If you've never heard like Freddie Mercury sing, you'll say humans can't make that sound, and then this guy goes on there and belts, you know, like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Mariah Carey was hitting notes that other artists cannot hit. I just don't like the idea of like a group of people saying no because we don't think humans can sound like this. It's definitely not. You know what I mean? Like that's a subjective argument.
They're making this estimation. They're making this estimation off of the vocal tract length that would be required to make these sounds. So the length of your vocal cords in proportion to your body size is what I'm gathering here. Is there room for error there? Of course there is.
Yeah.
This is still just an estimation. But based on scientific analysis from this university, that's what they came up with.
Yeah.
There was also no evidence of any kind that there was any kind of speeding up, slowing down. It wasn't pre-recorded, re-recorded. These are authentic tapes. They can't find any evidence that these tapes were manipulated at all.
I mean, that's interesting. But I'm going to go back to my original question. Why didn't they go after the sounds? If you're out there looking for Bigfoot and you think you're talking to him, they're hunters and they go out there and you're talking to him. I would be moving forward the whole time trying to find this thing. Especially
First
if you
off,
say he
they
went
weren't
out
out there looking
again
for
with that
Bigfoot. They were out
Allen
there
guy
looking for
and
deer.
they did the same thing again.
They were out there looking for deer. They're hunters. They were out there deer hunting and elk hunting.
Fair enough. Fair. I misspoke saying they're out there looking for Bigfoot. Fair. But I don't know.
And hey, here in a couple months, we're going to go on our own Bigfoot expedition.
Yeah.
So when you start hearing a giant beast out in the woods, let me know how quick you are to go chasing after it, Bruce.
Well, I'm actually looking for Bigfoot. I will chase after it.
We'll see. Oh, I want to see it on tape, though, buddy.
Well, you're going to be recording it. What are you going to send me out while you're sitting at camp?
If I'm the cameraman, yeah.
You better be rolling the camera.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
the story does get even better
Lay it on us.
because there is some more scientific analysis that happened on this story. 1 second now. I got to get my. But anyway, all right. So a few years back, there's this guy named Scott Nelson, right? Scott Nelson, he's a retired U.S. Navy cryptolinguist. Okay. He spent 30 years in the Navy analyzing, transcribing foreign languages for the Navy. He specialized in Russian and Spanish and did a lot of work in Persian. So anyway, one day he's retired at the time, but he's helping his kid with a school project, right? And he's supposed to do something on it turns out he's supposed to do a project on Bigfoot. So his kid looks up, what's Bigfoot sound like? And he comes across the Sierra sounds. And that's when his dad hears it. Scott Nelson. Scott Nelson, being a language guy who's never given Bigfoot a second thought in his life, hears these sounds, and being a language expert, hears that samurai chatter we were just talking about. And being the language analyst that he is,
There's got to be a better
listens
phrase
to
than
it.
samurai chatter. There's got to be a better phrase.
Well, you can call it whatever you want, but that's what caught on. He heard the sounds that he was hearing, and he can hear actual language going on here, in his opinion, right? So he spends the next he spends a couple years diving into this. He ends up, he does what he did for 30 years in the Navy: slow it down, speed it up, pick it apart, pick out phonetic sounds. He's put together this entire report on exactly what he's hearing. And in his estimation, this is an absolute language. These are three different individuals talking back and forth with each other in a language. He's come up with basically a phonetic alphabet, a standard for anybody who comes up with recordings from here on out. Here's how we can break this down. Here's a standard operating procedure on how we can pick this apart.
Do we have those recordings?
But I have an entire document in which, I'm going to put in our show notes here, and you're free to look at. Where is it? Here we go. Let me put this up here. I mean, we can scroll through it real quick, but I'm not gonna go and read through this entire thing. This is
Oh no, I
all
was just thinking if if you had said that
cryptolinguist
if
language.
he had heard some other recordings that sounded like three conversations and whatnot, if he had those recordings.
Oh, these are the recordings we just listened to.
My bad, I misunderstood you. I thought you had said that he heard new
Yeah.
recordings or made
No.
made
He
recordings.
listened to the Sierra sounds. When he listened to the Sierra sounds, he could identify the elements of language. Like these are the key elements of sound. These are the inflection points. These are key punctuation, essentially, the end of a thought, the beginning of a thought type of thing. Let's see here.
That's interesting.
If you
Definitely.
can go through here.
Yeah.
Here. From Scott Nelson. He goes through this entire deal. And he's got an entire phenome key alphabet in which he labels the sounds that are made, and so that he can actually put together. Like, here you go. He's got timestamps in these pre-recordings. What is actually being said phonetically? Not like he can translate it, right? We don't know what they're saying, but here's a breakdown analysis of what is being said,
That's interesting.
just as you would as a crypto
I
linguist,
mean, that's
right?
really interesting.
Yeah,
It is.
that because obviously this guy knows what to listen for, like he can listen for
This is a guy who
inflection.
knows what he's doing, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So that is definitely pretty cool to have
Definitely.
someone of that education and knowledge look into these and be, yeah, actually this is kind of like a language, like if they were to guess, like this definitely seems like communication. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, in his estimation, this is absolutely a language.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so essentially the Sierra Sounds have become one of the most definitive evidence of the existence of Bigfoot, strictly because of this.
Yeah.
The fact that scientifically these sounds go above the range of human vocal cords and below the range of human vocal cords, and that these tapes were not manipulated in any way, and that there's definitive signs of actual language going on. This is some of the most concrete evidence that we have that Bigfoot does exist.
I don't know. What do you think, folks?
So you can
Let
make
us know.
as much fun of samurai chatter as you want to. The science is there.
Well, I'm making fun of the name for sure. That's a terrible, terrible name to
Oh,
call
you could
someone.
definitely make
It's a
fun of the
terrible name.
name.
But I don't know.
You,
I don't know. I don't know. I want to believe. Trust me, I'm
well,
here. I
given everything
want
that
to
I just
believe it.
told
I
you,
want it to be true, but I just don't. I need more proof, man.
given everything that I just told
Yeah,
you,
even given all of that, I would
given
still need
everything that
more
I just
proof.
told you about the science behind it, what do you think about that analysis?
The one thing that makes me take a step back is that dude with all of his training and stuff, spending all that time figuring out the dialects and whatnot. Because he's either onto something or he's out of his mind. It's one of the two. So I don't know. I'd like to think he's
I'm
onto
gonna
something.
see if I can't. I'm gonna see if I can't pull this other thing up real quick,
What do you think, Katie?
and
I don't know. I mean, it is definitely pretty pertinent evidence that it can't be human, like on the scale of just like the vocal cords alone, and like knowing that this place is so remote and like having someone play it off as a hoax, it's just like, why would they, bringing it back to that story, like why would they even do that out, like talking about the footprints like outside the lot, the 8 foot, like they projected is like size 8 and size 13 or something like that. But those footprints, like determining that, and the length of the vocal cords, like specifically not being able to produce that, it's like it's kind of hard to refute that. I know it's evidence that we want, like a picture video per se, besides the sounds. Obviously, that's could be taken as evidence too, because like you said, the video wasn't manipulated. So these sounds are definitely like raw. There's nothing that was added or taken away. So it's like putting all that information and having it be, documented through like a university, that did this and like looked at this. So it's like when you go through the steps like that, it's kind of hard to refute it. Do I believe it 100%? No. But do I believe some of the evidence that is suggested and brought up through this? Yeah, I it's kind of hard not to refute that, especially when you have a university and credible resources, backing this up. That's like the one thing that's like, okay, yeah, this definitely, there could be something there. But at the same time, like, it's hard because we don't have something physically we're seeing. Like, it's not like a picture or like a video, like one walking or anything like that, even though someone could make up those videos too. Like, it's nowadays with technology, people can really do whatever. But the fact that raw and at its sense of the sounds, like, and it's not manipulated, that is something to consider and look at. And especially with the vocal cords, the range, like you can't refute that. Like, humans can't possibly make that, according to this science. So it's like you can't really refute that, so it's definitely pretty cool. Like, it's something that makes me think about it a little bit more and wants to dive in a little bit more, and definitely like make me have an experience for myself. I think like for people, it's really hard to think if something's like right or wrong or like true or not true if it doesn't happen to them firsthand. So like having something like this happen firsthand to you is obviously going to sway your mind a little bit more. Because like Bruce said, it's either it's you're onto something, or you're actually just hearing things going crazy. Like, it's probably too. Like, if there is something there to uncover, or people like are mass people just hearing things like that doesn't really, I don't really think about that. I think like it's kind of hard to refute something you're hearing out in the woods and you're like, what is that? Like, something's obviously making that sound. Is it a Bigfoot? Is it a Sasquatch? We don't know. But no, it can't be in the vocal range of a human based off that knowledge. So it's like, that's something's there. In my opinion, I think that something might be there to uncover, because that's interesting.
That is really interesting. Now, you bring up good points. You do. I mean, I can't argue with some of those. And
let me I want to pull up an interview here with Scott Nelson. You can listen to he himself talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
That had prompt there for what was labeled samurai chatter. I said, well, this looks good. So I flipped on that, clicked on that, and immediately heard something that mesmerized me. Vocalizations in which were evident language articulations. And I played it over again and over again and over again, to the point where my son said, Dad, what's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? What are you doing? And I said, Stephen, there's language in these sounds. He said, what are you talking about, Dad? It sounds like two apes fighting. To me, that's what it sounds like. And I said, I know it does it real time, but I can tell. And I know that the reason that I could tell is because I had spent so many hours with the headphones on, what we refer to as sit in the cans, listening to the human voice on tape, manipulating it, speeding the human voice up, slowing it down to recover, the different languages and getting it down on paper, transcribing it, what we call transcription. And I said, Stephen, there's absolutely, definitely language being articulated here, but it's not human. And he says, how do you know that? And I said, well, because of what I did in the Navy. I said, we need to get a hold of these tapes and slow it down like what Dad used to do in the Navy. And that's what essentially started me on this whole thing. I walked away that day knowing three things about these tapes. And first thing is that it was not a human. Second thing was that it was most definitely a complex language. And the third thing was that it could not have been faked. And so I began to doing a little bit of detective work, trying to find out, where I could get a hold of these tapes. And I began to read up on Bigfoot. I suddenly started to become a Bigfoot guy because I realized I had to find out as much about, this phenomenon that as I could, if I was going to make any sense out of it. So I read every book I could get a hold of, and in none of them that were available at the time, I might have read 20 books, there was not even a mention that Sasquatch might have language.
So what do you think of that?
I'll let Katie go first.
Honestly, yeah, it adds to the credibility on my end, honestly. When you have someone with that many years trained to literally specifically look for and can hear language and inflections, and that you can't really refute that, because that guy has worked backed by that, a degree probably backed by that, so can't really refute what he's saying. And the three things that he mentioned, that it can't be faked, it's definitely language, and it's complex like that, and it's not human. So to me, that definitely added to my bank of evidence to support in that it is probably something of a Sasquatch or Bigfoot nature, because what else is out there that we know of that can make that sound that's out of human range like that? It's a coyote's not gonna match those ranges, I wouldn't think. I honestly don't know at the end of the day, but it doesn't seem like it. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like a deer would make those sounds. It just doesn't really match up a little bit. So when you have someone like that bringing in credibility, it definitely helps on my end, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
I respect that. I respect that. And you might be right. You very well may be right. I don't know. Like I said, I want to believe, and I have a hard time with things that I want to believe. I feel like I need more proof. If it's something that I want to be true, I need more proof, because I don't know. I do know that people can lie, and I do know that people can go crazy, and people can have fancy degrees and have failed careers, and need to say and do things to get themselves recognized and put into the spotlight. Now, am I saying that's what this guy's doing? Absolutely not. I don't know this guy at all, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just aware that humans can do that. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of stuck in that place where I need more proof with this, because of the reason that I want it to exist. I want to live in the world where we could go into the woods and run into Bigfoot. I think that would be crazy.
Now, what I wanted to do was pull up an actual interview
that
with Ron Morehead himself, but virtually all of them that I can find are of Ron Morehead on another podcast, and that's not something that I want to do here.
Yeah.
But I feel like it might be very possible for us to just interview Ron Morehead himself, which we might do here in the future,
That would be
which
sick.
I think would be awesome because
Yeah.
I find Ron Morehead and Scott Nelson and his entire group highly credible. Because here's the thing: either they're all in on a hoax, or none of it's a hoax.
Crazier things have happened, though. Come on, stranger things have
Yeah, I'm
happened.
not saying it's not possible,
Right.
but either they're all in on a hoax and they've kept it up for the last 50 years without
Oh my god.
anybody breaking the code of silence on this one, or it's not a hoax. I don't believe for a second there's somebody else that's hoaxing them. This location is
No,
way
I
too
don't think
remote.
that's the
It's
case.
way
No.
too secretive. This location is still secret today. They don't because they don't want a whole bunch of people up there, a whole bunch of Sasquatch hunters up there trampling around in this camp that's been with this group since the 50s. It's 8 miles away
I can only
from any
imagine what that
road.
group of people would look like.
I have pictures of them. Like, most of these guys are still around. You could talk to most of them, including Ron Morehead, who's still a regular.
Right. I would love to have him on the show. He'd
Yeah.
be a really interesting get.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That would
I find Ron Morehead highly credible. I find Scott Nelson highly credible. I think this is some of the best evidence of Bigfoot's existence out there, strictly based on the scientific analysis that's happened around these recordings, which you just don't get these days. And here's another thing. In 2023, it is stupid easy to fabricate a video, fabricate a recording.
Sure.
I can type something into Chat GPT and fucking spit me out a computer code for a hack a bank account, right? You can make AI generated images that just look more real than an actual photo. In 1972, that wasn't possible, right? And it's a lot easier to do a scientific analysis on a cassette tape that, the only way to manipulate it is to re-record, pre-record, which has already been refuted, didn't happen in this case. Scientifically speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting. That's interesting. I guess it comes down to what it always comes down to. Let us know in the comments what you think. Is this evidence
I
enough?
want to know what everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
No, I
Katie,
like it. This was an interesting one. This was interesting.
Yeah. What more evidence would you want, Bruce? What? They kind of flip your switch, so to say, on okay, you've got me. This is Bigfoot.
I want to see a video that's not that dude walking around. I want to see a real video. I want to see this thing. I'd love to see it in person, but I want to see someone capture this thing on video.
And there's a theory
there are videos
around
out there. No, they didn't capture any video.
The only one that if there's more, I'd love to see him do. The one that I keep, whenever I look for him, the one that keeps coming up is that one where the guy that was a known con man who had, walked around in the rubber monkey suit.
What are you talking about?
Oh man, the famous video of the Bigfoot walking, swinging his arms, turning his head.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the Patterson Gimlin film?
I don't know the guy's name.
The super famous Bigfoot video that was taken in the late 60s.
Yeah. Yes.
And you're saying that there was a guy who claimed
that
you're saying that there was a guy who claimed to be that he was a guy in the monkey suit, right?
Well, I don't know that a guy ever claimed that he was the guy. What I'm saying is that was definitely a guy in a suit.
Okay. Yes, you are talking about the Patterson Gimlin film. And yes, there was a guy that came out who said, yeah, I was the guy in the monkey suit. there was actually 7 different guys who came out and said, I was the guy in the monkey suit. So which one's full of shit?
Fair enough. I think whoever recorded it is the most.
I disagree, buddy. You need to dig deeper on that one.
You think? Hang on.
That was actually
fine. You can believe whatever you want, but do you think that
no? I'm not talking about what I believe. I'm not talking about what I believe. This video was just reanalyzed by the FBI. Now, don't get me wrong. I have lots of problems with the FBI, but I don't know why they would have a reason
it's similar to like a college
hold on.
doing a test.
Hey, can I finish my sentence? Please. I have plenty of problems with the FBI, but I don't believe they have any reason to lie about a Bigfoot video, right? Former FBI agents reanalyzed with the latest technology and all their woohoo and what they do with tech to stabilize the video and enhance the pixelization and put it into high definition, all this stuff. Steven Spielberg and his entire crew looked at this video and said, there is no way that we could recreate this. If we recreated this, this will be a $500,000 costume. Wow, now, who the fuck is going to be out there in Bluff Creek in 1967, 20 miles from nowhere, in order to hoax 2 guys on horseback with a $500,000 costume in 1968? I'm saying, man, dig a little deeper, do a little more research. Don't just scratch your head and say, I thought I heard that, that one guy was a con man one time.
But he was a well-known con man, though.
Who?
He was a well-known con man. So if you're getting something from a well-known con man, this information...
Who was a well-known con man?
Here's the thing. Just like when I was talking about... Hang on. Just like I was talking about with the,
Bruce,
Elon Musk.
Who was the well-known con man? Who are you talking about?
What?
Who are you talking about? Who is the well-known con man?
The dude filming. The guy who was filming.
Who?
I don't know the guy's name, but dude, if you look up...
Well, then what are you talking about?
Like, look up.
You know he's a well-known con man, but you don't even know the guy's name? Who are you talking about?
Gimlet.
Where are you getting this information from?
From Google. But listen.
Oh, okay.
Hang on, can I talk now? Listen. All right.
Yeah, please. Let me know.
It all goes down. Hang on, man. I'm losing my train of thought with you. Hang on, listen. The guys... If anyone thinks that monkey suit thing is real, I have a lot of issues with that. That thing is like that's the most fake looking video I've ever seen in my life. And it goes back to what
Steven Spielberg would disagree with you.
A couple weeks ago with the... What? What?
Steven Spielberg and his entire crew came out and said, we could not recreate this.
I don't care what he has to say. I don't care. But I'm just saying, hang on.
Okay.
Don't you remember how we talked about, like, the government used to infiltrate the UFO blogs and all that kind of stuff to give misinformation?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you ask,
are you saying that Steven Spielberg works for the
motivation to lie about anything like this? I mean, to cover up the actual truth. You know what I mean? That would be my estimation. And it goes back to what I was saying a couple weeks ago about whether or not Elon Musk has an actual car in outer space. The thing is, if I'm looking at something and it looks fake, you got to prove to me that it's real, because I'm telling myself it looks fake. It looks fake. I have a hard time believing things are real when they look fake.
Is there any
flat out?
Okay. Put that video up real quick so we can all analyze it real quick, or?
The Patterson-Gimlin film?
Yeah, the one.
If I could do it on the fly, I might be able to. I don't know if I can just...
It would just be kind of cool.
Hold on, I might be able to here.
Just so we can all be on the same page and making sure we're all thinking of the same video, because I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, it looks fake.
Yep,
but like,
here we go.
Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go.
I have a stabilized version of it right here.
Okay,
let's see.
Okay.
So Steven Spielberg and all his special effects guys went on tape, on the record, and said, yeah, back in 1967, in order to recreate this, that's a $500,000 monkey suit that some guy's wearing 20 miles out in the wilderness in order to fool two guys on horseback. Why? Doesn't make any sense.
I'm just saying that doesn't. I mean, that's my opinion. My opinion is it doesn't look real. That's my opinion.
Is there any way to pause it on the last frame, like the picture one? Like I
that
think it's
right
coming
there?
up, like yeah,
All right.
right there, and zoom
I
in
don't
a
know.
little.
Like,
Yeah, can
I
you
don't
zoom
know
in?
that I
All
can
I'm seeing
zoom
is
in, man.
small
This
dot.
is YouTube.
Yeah, it's just
You know.
yeah. Like
Yeah, fair
control,
enough.
I mean,
like
But I mean,
this
all I'm
video,
seeing is a
this is
walking
one
dot
of
from
the
here.
most analyzed videos, like next to 9/11, man. This has been analyzed over and over and over so many fucking times over the last 60 years, almost.
yeah, that's
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it, but
The
like, I still just,
the
I call it
latest thing
nonsense. I don't think it's
is
real.
that
That's just my opinion.
a bunch of former FBI agents ran it through their latest and greatest software to get the most high definition, like in their granular detail, in their analysis. Like you can see the toes lifting up in her foot. You can see the muscle articulation in her arms. Like, obviously we're not getting that detail here, but in their analysis that they did, these are all the details that you can get that you can't just get with a monkey suit that you bought at, Party USA. That's what I'm saying.
What do you want?
right.
I want a job that I don't hate.
Oh my god.
That's
I don't know.
it. But again, like you are kind of just their word, like their account, like
Yeah, we're taking
Bro, this
these
is a
people's
paranormal
words, but the FBI
This is a
is
paranormal podcast. That's
really.
all
I
we
mean,
do.
I'm not.
We're taking people's word on their account on what they
I feel
saw.
like the FBI would have better things to do.
And we're doing the best that we can to do an analysis of it and
right.
pick it apart.
Exactly.
I believe
Yeah.
Ron Morehead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
I need
I get
more
it.
hard proof than that.
You need more. I get it.
I need
I
harder
believe
proof
Ron
than that.
Morehead.
That's just
I
me.
think him, Scott Nelson, Al Berry, all the other guys there in the camp. I don't believe that they were hoaxing anybody. I don't believe that these are other animals that are misidentified. I don't think that somebody else was hoaxing them. I think because remember
Yeah,
they
honestly,
got
that would have been my opinion.
footprints. 100 yards from their camp. They made casts
Yeah.
of these footprints. One set that was 13 inches long, another set that was 18 inches long. Two different sets. When you put all of these pieces of the puzzle together, it sounds
Yeah, I'd
credible
love to see
me.
those. I'd love to see
Now,
those.
I could be wrong too. Maybe it's all full of shit. You might
No,
be
that's
right,
fair.
Bruce. But
no, that's fair. I don't want to be right. I want it to be real. I'm not saying. I'm saying I'm not. I don't want it. I don't.
I
want to be right.
appreciate
I'm just
a
saying it
skeptical
looks
mind.
fake. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I just say it doesn't
I
sound
appreciate
right.
a skeptical mind, Bruce. I do. I really do. I know I give you shit a lot, but I do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have to hear a little bit more when it comes to this, but I'm willing to at least go out into the woods and look for this thing that I'm not
For sure.
sure exists.
And then we're gonna go to a Bigfoot conference, and hopefully we have something to show for it. Right? Amen.
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
that's right. That's right. That's right.
Katie, you're planning on being there for that too, aren't you?
Well,
yes. Again, if I can try to just get off the time for work, I definitely would definitely want to.
That would be
find this. That'd be really cool.
Definitely.
Right up my alley.
Love to have you.
So I would love it.
We are going to be roughing it though. Like we are also going to be like Ron Morehead, miles from anything. I got a couple locations in mind that I'm going to be scouting out here in the next few weeks, but we are going to be in the middle of the Huron National Forest. So, oh yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be so awesome. Love that.
I'm looking
Absolutely.
forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest with you. Right on. Well, this was a good one, guys. Do we have anything to add before we hop off?
I don't think so. I think honestly, I really do want to believe it. I'm with you on that. Like I want to believe it for sure, and definitely hearing some of the sounds and some of the credibility backed by the universities and educations and everything like that. I mean, it seems pretty plausible. It seems pretty credible on my end. I mean, yes, I'd love to see more. Like I'd want to see like a real video or something, or even
I'd like to walk
first
up and
encounter
shake
myself.
Bigfoot's hand. You know, I mean,
For sure.
that ultimately that's going to be what it's going to take, right? You
Right.
know, either somebody shoots one and drops it on,
Yeah.
the governor's doorstep, or you make contact, right? For real.
Yeah.
We just have like a Harry and the Hendersons.
What
kind
else
of
does
friend,
it take?
You know?
Yeah.
No,
I'm
I
down.
like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mhm.
And
I
again,
like it.
keep
Like
in
I said,
mind,
I
we
want it to be
played,
true. I want it
we
to
played
be.
about 5
But,
minutes
you
of
know,
these sounds.
I
Like I
have to
said,
be.
there's well over an hour and a half out there available.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna take another like deep dive after this podcast and kind of just be like, yeah, let's see what the sounds are all about too. Like I kind of want to go back in there again and really listen and be like, okay, let's see what I can really pick out, if
Yeah,
anything.
definitely.
So
Absolutely. Always dig
Absolutely.
deeper. Do more research.
always.
All right. Well, if you guys stay tuned, we're gonna hop over to the after show. Hit us on the Patreon thing if you guys want to see that. And thank you guys for joining us.
Absolutely.
We love you.
Smash that
Thank
like
you.
button.
Love each other.
Thank you,
Yes,
Katie, for
thanks for
being
having.
here. Everybody, smash that like button. Smash that Rumble button.
Yes, thank you
Subscribe. Do whatever you got to do. Take this podcast. Text message bomb your mother, your grandmother, your friends, everybody you know. Just bomb them. If they don't get get it the first time, just send it like 7 more times. They appreciate that. They love it. You just send them the podcast over and over again. Leave a comment, review. What do you think? What do you think? Is Ron Morehead full of shit? Is Al Berry full of shit? What do you think they recorded? Was it just a badger? Maybe they just heard a badger. You tell me. Leave a comment. Leave a review. We're going to slide on over to Patreon and make it happen, folks.
Awesome. Bye, you guys. Thanks for having me. And I'm definitely going to be in tune for the next podcasts to come. So,
Sounds good. Thank you guys.
yeah, no
Amen.
problem. You guys have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.